All right, now we're gonna look at Quandrix. Definitely not Simic. Totally Quandrix. Start with a biomathematician. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 with a fractal. Put a counter on it for each fractal you control. Cool. It's like a 3-mana 2/2 plus 1/1, or maybe a 2/2 plus 2/2. Yeah, seems okay. Look at that 6 or 7. I think you're. I mean, a 2/2 plus 1/1 you wouldn't play in sealed, but a 2/2 plus 2/2 is good. So if you have any other fractals, this is going to be a 7. But I'm going to put it as a 6 just because I think it's baseline. You're probably not going to play it. Insane in multiples? I mean, the second, if you play, the first one's a 2/2 plus a 1/1. The second one's a 2/2 plus a 2/2. It's not that insane. Eureka moment. Draw 2 cards. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay, well, just inspiration. Wait, what? Oh, wait, oh no, I see what you're saying. Oh wait, no. It's put a counter on each fractal you control. Oh no, you're right, it is a 7. No, you're right, this is way better than that. No, you're right, I misread it. I thought I just made it, I just like put a 0/0 and put a counter on it for each fractal you control. No, it's put a counter on each fractal you control. Got it. So this always makes a 1/1, right? This always makes a 1/1. This is actually always a 3/2/2 and a 1/1. The question is whether it puts a counter on anything else. I see. I see. It's probably a 6. Maybe it's a 5. I'm gonna put this as a 5. I think it's a fine 23rd card. I think that's what a 5 is. You're not always gonna play this, I don't think. Draw 2 cards and you put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. I mean, it's just inspiration plus, right? Inspiration's kind of medium minus. You can play it, you can not play it. I think it's a fine filler card. It's probably a 5. Either it's a good card. Well, Growth Spiral has always been bad in sealed. 4 mana draw 2 is pretty medium minus in sealed. It's like a 5. So that's what this is. So putting a land into play is whatever. The odds are you're gonna put a land into play and then you're gonna miss your land drop next turn. So it doesn't actually do anything. Urban Evolution, draw 3 cards. That's way different. So you're talking about Urban Evolution, which was 5 mana draw 3, put a land into play. Drawing 3 is way different than drawing 2. Needlethorn Drake, Flying Death Touch. Yep, 7. Sounds good. Always gonna play it if you're green blue. Doesn't draw a card. Like certain other cards that have Flying and Death Touch and cost 2 mana do. Who Shall Remain. It doesn't have Flash either, like certain other cards have either, so. Yeah, it's Icefang Coatl. Well, Icefang Coatl had Flash. So I guess you're not playing for the Flash. But Icefang Coatl was really good. Yeah, it was Winged Coatl. Whatever this thing is. That's what 3 mana 1/1 Flying Death Touch. That card's good. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a counter on this. Sure. A 9? No, dude. This is like a 6 or a 7. This is Spellgorger weird. Yeah. This is just literally just Spellgorger weird. Yep. This was a red card. Spellgorger weird would hit off non-creatures, so it's slightly better. But Spellgorger weird was an 8. This is worse. Harder to cast. More limited. This is maybe a 6. Bad top deck. It's either a 6 or a 7. It's better than the red white one. That was 2/2 first strike. Is a 7. I think it's only a 7 if you're green blue. If you're not green blue, it's a 6 or a 5. I think it's actually a 5 if you're not green blue. It's only a 7 if you're actually green blue. One green or a 1 blue if you're not playing both is not acceptable for this card. I think it's just yeah, I'm gonna put it as a 5. You have to play 2 spells for it to be doing anything. You have to play 2 spells. Let's call it a 6. I'll call it a 6. We'll play it safe. Square up. Target creatures. They printed this one before. It's had cycling in the past. Starling Development. Oh. I don't like this. This is like a 3 or 4. Target your creatures or their creatures, but this is like one of the worst things you can do. Yeah, square up, and it's not even a square on the outside, right? I don't even know what that shape is called. Octagon. It's an octagon. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Well, so this can hit tokens. This can hit tokens. There's a lot of tokens in this format. This is probably going to kill a token and then rebuy one of your creatures. This is probably a 5. I don't know if you always play it, but I think it's a fine filler card. You think it's more of a 4? It could be a 4. 5 mana is a lot for this. But I feel like you would always have this board this in if your opponent has any token makers in their deck. Sorcery is terrible. I guess. Oh, you can bounce their lands? I guess you could if you wanted. I don't know why you'd want to. If Glittering Frost was in the format, if there's like enchant lands in this format, then this card would be way better. This card would be phenomenal if there was enchant lands in this format. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Counter target non-creature. Yeah, this card's an 8. This is like a constructed card. This card's really good. You've heard enough? Sure. Pretty simple card. It's not as good as Dramoka's Command. Maybe it's not a constructed card, but if you want to see what Dramoka's Command is, I'll show it to you. So this could prevent all. It says choose to prevent all damage. Target instant or sorcery would deal. Target player sacrifices raise an enchantment, put a counter on a creature, or and then the fight, right? So you can like put a counter on your creature and fight. So like it's not nearly as good as Dramoka's Command. At least I don't think it is. But yeah, I know this can't counter non-creatures. Like it can't counter non-damage spells as well as this one can, for sure. Draw a card for each different power among creatures you control. This feels like Divination Plus. You don't think this is Divination Plus? I do. Terrible top deck after your opponent casts Wrath of God. Yeah, great. Thanks. Thanks for that very informative comment. Even if it cycles, it's whatever. It's like, even if it cycles, I think you're going to draw 2 like 50% of the time. You're going to draw 1 like 30% of the time. And then 20% of the time, you're going to draw 3 or more. Maybe 15% of the time, you're going to draw 3 or more. Then 5% of the time, you can't even cast it. But this is probably a 7 or an 8. I'm going to call it an 8. It's a 7? I'll call it a 7 then. So it's a 7 or an 8. This card is worse than Divination, but you can't. It's unlikely you're going to be able to cast this on turn 3. It is really good with Mathematician. I'll agree to that. This card is definitely good. Playable. You're always going to play it if you're these colors. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a land from among them and put that card into your hand. Oh, wait. This card's bananas. This is a 9. This is Nessian Wanderer, right? Yeah. You're right. This is Nessian Damned Wanderer. Yeah. Yep, this was Constellation, but yeah. Same thing. You're probably going to have more instants and sorceries than you are going to have enchantments in that format, right? I don't think you had 9 enchantments in your deck when you had Nessian Wanderers. You probably only had like 5 or 6. And that was a format that had enchantment creatures, right? Yeah, Nessian was so good. Yeah, this is so good. Blue and green is different than green blue. Yeah. It also puts them on the bottom in any order rather than a random order. That's kind of dumb too. Imagine you go Quandrix Apprentice into Mentor's Guidance. Does your opponent just like pack up the game? Just like, okay, I'm done here? I kind of feel like they do. I think we're done. Alright, Quandrix Cultivator. Enters the battlefield, you may search the way for a forest or an island card and put it on the... Wait, what? This is an 8. What's the percentage chance you miss with a guild mage? I'll look it up for you. 17%. So 83%. You're 83% to hit with this. That's assuming 17 cards, 17 lands in your deck, and a 40 card deck. But yeah, this card's great. Undo Giant was a 2/4. That was really good. Kind of defined that format. Oh, this puts it on the battlefield untapped. Wow. Now, this can't get your off color. Like, you can't get your splash with this, which is kind of unfortunate. In addition, the lands are not actually that land type, right? Yeah, these are not mountain plains, right? This is not a... So you can't get dual lands like you could in the previous format. Oh, it says basic? Oh, I saw Forest or Island because they're capitalized, but I didn't see the basic before it. It's weird. It's weird how it's like... It says basic forest, and then it says or island. So I'm thinking, oh, any island, not just basic island, right? That, in my mind, you know, doesn't say basic forest or basic island. It just says basic forest or island. But you think it's worse than Undo Giant? It might be worse than Undo Giant. Maybe this is a 7. It's still really good. You're always going to play it. But Undo Giant can fix your mana, and this can't. But this puts it into play untapped, which is something. And it's also a 3/4, not a 2/4. Alright, it's a 7, but it's so hard to cast. You're right. The mana cost is a big issue. And it doesn't fix your mana. You're right. You're right. Simone. 1 mana tap. 2 mana 1/2. 1 mana tap. Put a land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Okay, whatever. 4 mana tap, draw a card. If you control 8 or more lands, draw 2 cards instead. I don't know, Treasure Trove was a card that I didn't really like it, but... This was Treasure Trove. 4 mana draw card thing. I didn't like this card at all. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's probably a 7 or an 8, right? Probably an 8. It's not a 9. It's not a 9. I think it takes way too much for this to be a 9. I think an 8 is fine. I think it's like on par with the Terminate. Maybe it's a 7. I'm not sure it's better than Quandrix Cultivator. Nah. Maybe undervaluing the 1 mana tap, put a land into play. I don't think I am, though. I mean, yeah. You have to play with it to see if it's actually good. If you're mana screw, this doesn't do anything, right? I think this is actually a 7. It's a 1/2. It doesn't battle. And if you're mana screwed, then it actually doesn't do anything. So I don't think it can be an 8 if that's what's going on. A 7 is still a good magic card. You're always gonna main deck it. It's not like it doesn't have to be an 8. 8 is reserved for cards that are like always good, or terminates, or what have you. There's some conditions in that card. Double major. Copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary. That spell's legendary, yeah. No, right? Now I can dedicate myself fully to Zotomancy and Void Theory. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this. Manifestation Sage. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So it's a 4 mana 2/2 plus 4/4. 2/2 plus 3/3. 2/2 plus 5/5. 2/2 plus 3/3, probably. Yeah. Yeah, 2/2 plus 1/1 if you top deck it. It's whatever. A 2/2 plus 3/3 for 4 is fine. That's probably what this is gonna be, right? Maybe it's a little bit better. But it's super hard to cast, obviously. And I think it's a 3-color format, so. I don't think this actually costs 4 mana. I think this costs 5 or 6. So I think this is a 3-color format. Maybe this is a 6. No, this is a 6. 3/3 plus a 2/2 is whatever. This is kind of conditional, super hard to cast. Yeah, maybe it's a 6. Good call. It's a rare, yeah. Looks like an uncommon, doesn't it? Return target... Choose 2. Return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. So it's unsummoned. Counter target artifact or enchantment. Yikes. That's not great. Put 2 counters on target creature. Okay. Unsummon and put 2 counters on something for 3 mana. Okay. Target player shovels up to 3 target cards from their graveyard. Okay, whatever. So it's always 1+3. It's 3 mana instant, bounce a creature, put 2 counters on a creature. That's pretty good. Did they make this card? Was that a card? I feel like this was a card in the past. It was like a common? It was some Simic card in the past, yeah. Yeah, it was +1/+1 counter and bounce and RNA, that's right. And that card was good. Applied Biomancy? That's right. How are you so smart? Yeah, choose one or both. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and return target creature to its owner's hand. Yeah. This was a common. This was good. This is better. It's probably a 7, right? No. The counter's whatever. Body of research. Create a 0/0 fractal and put a counter on it for every card in your library. Okay, so 6 mana like 20/20? 6 mana 25/25? Probably 6 mana 25/25. You start off with 40 cards, you start off with 7. You play 6, you draw 6 cards, right? You've probably seen like 15 cards by the time you play this card. So it's probably a 25/25. That's a hard card to cast. If you're actually green and blue, this card is probably a 7. 7 or an 8. Because it's a Vorst Claw. Right? I mean, we have that card. There was, what was it, Leyline Invocation? Like, this card's also in the set. It was like a 6 mana 6/6 or 6 mana 7/7. But that's easy to cast. This is not. I don't know. This is probably a 6. That's just so hard to cast. Even in a green and blue deck, you might not be able to cast this on turn 6. This is probably a 5. But the thing is, like I said, even in a green and blue deck, you're not gonna have green, blue on turn 6. You're just not. There's just unless you play one of these, unless you play a cultivator on turn 4, you're not gonna be able to cast this on turn 5 or turn 6. You're only gonna main deck this if you're exactly green and blue, and if you're exactly green and blue, you're gonna play it. If you don't, then yeah, you will. You're gonna lose a lot of games with this in your hand if you play it. That's right. Casting of a treasure? No. Each other planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Casmina. Okay, so no text. Scry 1, sure. Create a 0/0 fractal and put X counters on it. So I can make it 0/0 and just have it die if I want. Great. Or I can -1 and make it 1/1, sure. -8, search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this planeswalker. Exile that card and shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Yeah. This reminds me of a planeswalker in the past. But wasn't there like a green blue planeswalker that had the Scry 1? Like, not Nissa, there's another one. You would always play it? Yeah. You would always play it. But it's, like, you don't splash for this. Might have been a Kiora, yeah. Oh, was there a Ral? That might have been a Ral. Baseline is Grey Ogre. Just play it and just make a 2/2. Just do it. This is a 6. Talnazir Quandrix. Flying Trample. When it enters the battlefield, double the amount of counters on each target creature you control. Wait. Whenever this attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control so you can make all your creatures a 4/4. Didn't they make this? Wasn't there a proliferate card that was similar to this? Yeah, like it was this fellow. 5-mana 4/5 flying trample, put a counter. Yeah. Well, roll sec was better than this guy. Roll sec is better than this Quandrix fellow. Yeah, it's something to note that no, I mean this is baseline in 8/8. It's a dragon with 2 lines of extra bonus text. It's an air elemental. It's an air elemental with trample that also has 2 lines of like double bonus text, right? I mean, this is at least an 8. It might actually be a 9, right? Because it doubles the amount of counters on a target creature you control. So like it can make your Quandrix into your fractals rather into turn your 2/2 into a 4/4, turn your 3/3 into a 6/6, right? Yeah, and when it attacks, it turns all your fractals. It gives all your fractals +4/+4 when it attacks. So this is probably a 9. It's tough though, because I don't know if this fellow pays rent. Do you think? I don't know if this guy pays rent. I feel like he gives you a deposit, then just kind of just lounges about and misses a few months of payment. I don't know if this guy pays rent. Air Elemental pays rent upstairs. Yeah, he just steals from other people and gives it to you. That's fair. That's probably good enough as an 8. It's at least an 8. I'm not going to say it's a 7. It's at least an 8. The question is whether it's a 9. It's all like an 8.5. This is a card you splash for, too. You would always splash for this, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's an 8. It's an 8 if you're like a blue-black deck splashing green. It's probably an 8. But if you're like an actual green-blue deck, it's probably a 9, right? So... It's a 9. Yeah, maybe it is a 9. You may be right. It's an air elemental with an overrun attached. You're probably right. You're right. Like, if you just go bio mathematician into this guy, you're looking at dealing 20 by turn 6. That's a lot. That's pretty good. So far, I'm actually was not exactly very impressed with green and blue with Quandrix. Outside of this Quandrix Apprentice, I'm not actually that impressed by the fractals. Kind of boring. Not impressed with Manifestation Sage. Quandrix Command is whatever. This Castamina is whatever. Yeah, Quandrix only wants to play in its own pool. The Quandrix cards don't really work with others very well. Which I'm not a huge fan of. Like, if you're not dealing with fractals, green blue kind of is not interested. So. Do you think this is more of a 3 than a 1? I don't imagine myself ever wanting to play this. So I think it's a 1. I would never play this. Alright. Let's go look at something else.